in terms of getting knocked, you just got to be strong within yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because when we attended all these camps, you'd sit down one-to-one with the head coach, and there was kind of like a 4-corner sheet, and they'd tell you what areas you needed to improve on and why you wasn't getting your opportunities. And as an individual, you didn't always agree with them.
Let's get into you and how this all started for you. So what inspired you to say, I want to play football? And where was your first, time where you remember that you were there kicking a football?
So it's a weird one, because I don't really remember a defining moment as such where I can say, yeah, I want to, play football, in particular, play football professionally. But my earliest memory of playing football was playing football in primary school with the boys.
Mm-hmm.
I was always the only female, but that never really bothered me, and it never bothered the people I was playing with. I just loved playing, and always being told off by my mum for scuffing up my school shoes. Like I'll never forget the first day she bought me a pair of shoes. First time, them times that I don't really have technique, I'm just toe punting it, yeah. Toe punting it, and I absolutely scuffed off the front of my brand new shoes. I was so scared that day to go home and show my mum my footwear. But yeah, definitely like playing in the school playground in primary school with all the boys, diving on concrete, slide tackling on concrete, scuffing up my knees. Yeah, that was my earliest memory of football.
Yeah, I had many of those stories where, my mom, she bought me a pair of I think, start of the year, it'd be like of my choice. So I used to love kickers, yeah. Probably everyone the same, right? Kickers, the styly school shoe type thing. Those broke, never again. You go, what's the one where you get it for, it used to be some blue shop.
Shoe Zone
from then on. Shoes on from then on. But yeah, so you were playing at what team, or do you remember? Like, you must have signed for a team or something like that.
Yeah, so I was lucky. So obviously, mum's getting frustrated about me ruining the house, kicking cans down the street and stuff. So she looked up kind of like a Saturday school type football program. So I ended up going up to Shooters Hill to play football on a weekend. And luckily they had some Charlton coaches and Charlton female players there. And I got scouted by one of the, at the time, England goalkeeper, Pauline Cope. And she obviously approached my mum and invited me down to Charlton's women session, because they had a good talent pathway with the Centre of Excellence.
Mm-hmm.
So I got invited to come and train with the under-10s. And then that's where it went from there. Literally joined the under-10s, made my way through the age groups till I was 14, and obviously left Charlton at 14 to join Arsenal. I would have stayed at Charlton, but the FA did a restructure where they wanted to condense the amount of Centre of Excellences. So it was for our area, it was between Millwall and Charlton on who would get the Centre of Excellence, and Millwall got it over Charlton. And at the same time, when I was 14, I got scouted to play for England. And in order to play for England, you had to be at an actual Centre of Excellence rather than like a development centre.
Yeah.
So in order to, grab that opportunity to play for England, I had to move team. And then I trialled at Arsenal and got in.
Here at Footy25, we're proud to present you with the best football-specific content. We work with many companies and many ballers to give you, the viewers, the best content possible. You, the viewer, we're always looking to help you improve your skill set. In order for you to improve your skill set and for us to keep making these videos, please click the link down below and buy some equipment. The equipment helps us run this channel And also you subscribing to the channel helps us producing more of these videos to help you with your skill set and your knowledge of the game. Thank you for supporting Footy25.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Story. What side of London are you from?
Oh, I'm from Southeast London. I live in Deptford.
Exactly. So being from Southeast London to, travel to Charlton, it's not that big of a deal, right? It's like,
No. It wasn't easy. I was very lucky to have a mother who was willing to, invest in her kids, and if you want to do something and you enjoy it, allow you to do it. There was no stereotypes in my household of women should do this, men should do that. If you enjoy it, you're good at it, and it keeps you out of trouble, then why not? So she was always willing to, take me to the 2 sessions a week, to really make the most of it.
Yeah. So then obviously, Charlton closing down, and then now you got to travel to all the way where Arsenal train at the time. Where did they train?
They trained at London Colney.
Okay, so I knew obviously the first team trained there, but the younger ages as well. So you'd have to travel.
Yeah, we literally trained at London Colney in the indoor dome, 7 till 9 o'clock sessions.
Wow. And then you'd have to obviously, quickly leave, I get to the other side of London, eat, go to school the next.
Honestly, it was a nightmare. So I went to school in Downham, Haberdashers' Ass Knights Academy.
Yeah.
So literally on the days we had training, Tuesday and Thursday, we'd literally sprint, get the earliest bus possible. On those days, I would always have to bring all my kit and stuff with me to school. I would sprint from Downham, Grove Park sides, meet my mum in Greenwich.
Yeah.
Right by the Blackwall Tunnel, jump in the car. She would have like all my food packed and stuff. Eat, change on the way up. These times we always got stuck in traffic because this is peak rush hour time to get out of London. Blackwall Tunnel, A12, A13, M11, and then the M25. So a lot of these days, a lot could possibly happen on our journey to stop us from getting there. And sometimes we were barely getting there. Like sometimes we get there 5 to 7, 10 to 7. Bearing in mind, like I met up with my mum at around 4 o'clock, 4:30, the latest. So yeah. Yeah,
that's crazy, and commitment from your mum. Shout out to her, man. So all that commitment, and you being a good player. When did you realize this was something that you can do and you're actually a really good player?
In terms of going pro, it wasn't really a thing for like me to acknowledge. Like growing up, it wasn't something women could make a living from. So I never really had the intention to go pro, and I don't think any female footballers my age would have said when they were younger, right, I want to be a professional female footballer, because it just wasn't a thing. But in terms of like when I realized I was good, and when I realized that like I could, even if it's not my main job, I could take this somewhere, was probably when I was around 15, 16.
Okay.
I would say. Those ages, you're getting closer, you're able to, see the first team play, you're going to games, and you're able to, at that age, you're really able to understand, the tactical side of football. And you're taking it in knowingly, like, it's like, not just fun anymore.
Yeah, you know what's happening.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're playing to win, you're playing for something every week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say when I was about 15, 16.
So during those are the times where you said you got scouted for England. How was that whole process, and how does it happen on your side of the sport?
So in terms of Centre of Excellences, each club would get the opportunity to send 5 players to like a talent camp type regional thing, where all the FA scouts would be there, and they'd like do fitness testing and, you know, play a few games, mix up the teams, and just have a look at all the players there. Those were held pretty much like every year, maybe like twice a year. And when I was at Charlton, they only ever sent one player, which doesn't make sense. Like, even if you don't think that player is good enough, you might as well take up the 5 slots that you have available and send people. When I was 14, I was voted like player's player. And it was kind of at that point where like I couldn't really be denied that opportunity to be able to go to one of these talent camps. I remember it vividly. It was at the Hive. I'm sure you've probably been there before. Barnet.
Yeah, near my mum's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you literally just head down there. It's quite a nerve-wracking and intimidating experience, especially for your first time. I was quite like shy, like growing up, so I was like very nervous leading up to this day. And then obviously you meet these girls who have maybe like been in the system for a while, and it's like nothing to them. They're used to it, and you got to rock up, put your nerves to one side, and try and represent yourself well.
Yeah.
And then obviously I got the email through that I'd like been invited to a camp when I was like 15. And literally same thing again, that was a new experience, going up north, not very far north, but to Coventry, at the Warwick University for a camp, staying away for like 10 days, you know what I mean, training twice a day. So yeah, that's what the experience was really like for me.
It's actually quite funny because I probably did the same thing as you. I think we're the same age, so we did the same thing maybe around the same time. But yeah, we just did it. I think we got sent there or we got scouted there. And then, yeah, it's this probably a similar process where there's like, I don't know how many people from your club, but people get sent there. And there's a lot of players, like my one was like 40 players. And then that's where they kind of pick their England team from there. So
yeah.
Did you end up featuring well, I know you did, but I mean, straight away, did you end up featuring after that for England?
So it's funny enough, because after that I would always get called up for camps, but when it was the camps like against opposition, I would never get played. Literally never get played. Got my first taste of actually like starting a game, I think it was like late under 17.
Yeah.
Late under 17, and we're talking about like I've been putting in work, like going to camps, attending camps, maybe getting, if I was lucky, 10 minutes in a game. So yeah, like kind of a frustrating experience, but builds character for sure.
Builds character for sure. So leading up to that moment, how is it getting knocked down and then having to get back up, and you want to achieve something and then you finally get there, and then how does that feel?
I don't want to say anticlimactic, but it kind of is in a sense, because even though it's international football, it's just football.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing you've been doing day in, day out, just with a different group of people against like a different opposition. So in terms of getting knocked, you just got to be strong within yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because when we attended all these camps, you'd sit down one-to-one with the head coach, and there was kind of like a 4-corner sheet, and they'd tell you what areas you needed to improve on and why you wasn't getting your opportunities. And as an individual, you didn't always agree with them. Do you know what I mean? And you didn't necessarily at that age always understand why you was being asked to change or improve here, or you know. So as a young individual, that can be quite tough to take, and you can take it quite personally. Do you know what I mean? And over the years, you see a lot of people dwindle out because they can't deal with, you know, the added stress,
pressures,
and the you know, the pressures of playing at that sort of level. But football is obviously a matter of opinions, isn't it? So you have to kind of use that information to kind of benefit your ways, you know, like change your ways. It sucks having to like, you know, change your ways to suit other people. You are who you are.
Sucks, isn't it?
But yeah, but if you want to play at a certain level, that's what's required of you.
requirements. Yeah, 100%.
For more content like this, like, share, and subscribe.